So welcome everybody. As usual, if you do have any questions along the way, please feel free to type them in the meeting, and we'll do our best to address them. The content of this webinar is focused primarily on just 2017 content, but there's a little bit of stuff snuck in there here or there just to help add clarity to the enhancements. We do have a couple of poll questions as well, so I don't have too many. I just created a couple of them, but maybe just to start it off, we'll test out a poll on seeing what sort of file management you're using today. So are you using PDM Professional, or used to be called Enterprise PDM as of a little over a year ago? Have you adopted PDM Standard, Workgroup PDM, Other PDM, or Windows Explorer? So if you could fill that in, would be great. All right, we'll give you another second here. Perfect. Closing it up. All right. And keep going. Let's go on to the next slide there, Scott. I think you're in control, right?
Yeah, just a little bit of a delay, that's all.
Okay. All right, for those of you who are new to us, I just thought I'd just refresh your memory, or just fill you in that we are across Canada now. So 6 offices. We're actually closer to 90 people now, but you're in good hands with our expertise. Let's keep going. So a little bit about our philosophy. Over the last couple of years, you switch the next one there, Scott? There we go. Last couple of years, we've really been switching to. Yeah, there's a little bit of a delay. Sorry about this, everybody. It's just it's because we did the East Coast and West Coast broadcast. That's Scott Ellery's stranded out. I shouldn't say stranded, but out on the West Coast serving customers out there. So we're doing it out of a couple different offices right now. But a little bit about our philosophy. So obviously there's 4 key facets to really helping our customers or working on new processes and new technologies. So obviously we need to help plan on the people side. What are the skills of your individuals, and what do they need to get the knowledge to move forwards. Obviously we need to help select the right technology. So right for design and help obviously with automating what we can. And then, of course, the process side. So a big part of PDM is really about the processes, and you're going to see a lot of great stuff in 2017 that allows you to automate more processes that you were looking to automate in the past. And, of course, outputting to manufacturing. SOLIDWORKS and ourselves are working on ways that we can get better information to manufacturing faster, and you're going to see some of that today with PDM 2017 and how it's going to help you. Just a reminder on other webinars. So we are in the midst of our webinar series to roll out the 2017 content. So we're just on October 25th there on PDM. So we're about a third of the way through. There's a lot of other topics that we're covering in the next few weeks as well. So please check out our schedule and see if there's any other content that's relevant for you. If you attended our launch event, you should be familiar that we are giving away some great prizes, and the way to get into the draw is through our launch survey. So there's the link at the bottom. We'll also send it out in an email to you. So at the end of the webinar series, we're going to do the draw for a couple of great prizes there, hopefully have a great chance of winning. So just a refresher on the PDM product lineup. So we do, for those of you who are using a Workgroup, so it is going to be discontinued as of 2018. So you still have a full year of usage. Obviously, if you stay on SOLIDWORKS 2017, it'll be longer than that. But in the next, really the year or two, you really need to be thinking about how to make a transition so last year with 2016, we introduced PDM Standard, which essentially is, call it a light version of PDM Professional, which used to be Enterprise PDM. So it has some advantages of being built into Windows Explorer. obviously has some just amazing functionality around the workflow is one of its claim to fames, and lots of great functionality. So you'll definitely be happy with the switch, and lots of good stuff to come. A little bit about differentiating the two. To me, if you're not sure which one's the right fit for you, there are some things that that should be considered. But in a nutshell, I would say the functionality that they kept in PDM standard, if I were to boil it down to one thing, it all comes down to risk control. It really does do a good job controlling your revisions. It does a great job coordinating designers, and does a great job searching and indexing your information. So there's some key risks that our customers are eliminating by moving to PDM standard. So if you're one of the users out there that's still on Windows Explorer, or if you're using Workgroup PDM, it does a great job eliminating those risks above and beyond what Workgroup can do. As far as PDM Professional goes, to me it's more about productivity. So there's a lot more functionality around processes, a lot more automation capabilities, such as publishing PDFs, and a big part of that we'll get into today with the 2017 release. It's scalable, so it's built on a robust SQL standard backbone as opposed to SQL Express of PDM standard is. It allows for replication, so you can scale between multi-site and integration. And also it's much more than just CAD management, so you can manage other document types, electrical, DWG's Office, and so forth. So it's great product, and today we're kind of blending them together. So some of the functionality you're seeing today is on PDM standard. All of it obviously is on PDM Professional, because that's PDM standard is just a subset. So with that, why don't I do another poll question here? So I am curious about, if you are on the PDM, I'm curious whether you help with the administration. So do you do a lot of the administration on PDM? Do you help out with just a little bit of it? Would you like to start, or you don't do any? So if you could fill that in just to get us familiar, would be great. All right, leave it open for a couple more seconds here. Perfect. Thanks everybody for your votes. All right. So Scott, maybe you can take it over on walking through some of the functionality, and I'm sure I'll chime in when I have something to add.
Sure, no problem. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so just kind of a visualization of how kind of a PDM system works. So with PDM standard, again, which is kind of SOLIDWORks' answer to the replacement for Workgroup, we have the ability to manage CAD data. So we can manage our SOLIDWORks files, and we can manage our DWG files. With PDM Professional, our capabilities are extended hugely. I mean, we can manage pretty much all of our product data. I think there's about 200 different file formats out of the box that we can manage inside of PDM Professional. We can also automate a lot of our processes, so we can do things like output STLs for 3D printing, or maybe submit a file set to a certain department for testing and validation, that sort of thing. We can also have multiple locations on PDM Professional working on the same vault, creating that wide area network. And of course, we can also interface with our ERP and MRP systems if we need to do things like grab bill of materials or grab project numbers. We can interface with those programs as well. So PDM Standard is a great start. PDM Professional, again, offering that robust customizability when it comes to your product document management. So today, there's three main areas that we're gonna touch on in kind of the what's new of 2017, and there's going to be again, we're going to be going over the newer, obviously the new enhancements in 2017, but also for those that might just be getting into PDM or might be thinking about PDM, we'll be running through that as well, just so you get a sense of what it's all about. So starting with managing or the manage aspect of PDM. So what we're actually going to do is let's just jump right in to let's pop into our file explorer here. So if I just go to my main C drive, you're going to notice it's the interface that we're used to. Everybody knows Windows Explorer. We've all had to use it at one point or another. Most of us use it every day, at least 8 hours a day. So it's a very familiar interface. Now I've got all these folders that you would expect to see, but at the same time I also have my vault as well. Okay, so the PDM server is a secure vault. If I double click on that, I've got to log in to be able to gain access to my vault. So I'm going to log in as Scott E, the humble designer, and once I'm inside my vault, you can see it's generally the same layout, right? It's got the same feel, so there's not like you have to learn a new environment or anything like that. The only thing that's different is that all of our folders are green. Okay, so that's how we know that we're in our vault. So what we're going to do now is let's take advantage of some of the automation in PDM, and we're just going to create a new project. So normally we have to create a new project manually. We have to put in all the file structures. But why not let PDM do that for us? So you can see we get a nice little customizable pop-up. In this case, it's automatically grabbing a project number for me. And let's just create a project name for this. We'll call it Tracker. And maybe just make it, we got a couple drop-downs we can pick from here. So maybe just machine design. Maybe it's for C-Craft. We can, choose our project manager. Maybe Eric. Eric always likes to oversee my work, so he can be the manager. And maybe we're doing this for Acme, right? So if we hit OK, and the workflow, which is the automation essentially inside of PDM Professional, is going to automatically create that project structure for me. So in this case, it's the way that it's set up is that it's going to pop into my project folder, and it's arranging everything by date. So if I go into my 2016 folder, you can see it automatically created a tracker folder for me, and I've automatically got my whole file structure as well, and folder structure. So any folders like project checklists, anything that's always part of a project, I can have create automatically. I don't have to remember to do that by hand. The first enhancement in 2017 you might notice is our preview window. So if I click on anything, in this case maybe a checklist, it's now a full preview window. So we can actually go back to the old style if we want to. It's just right under our display here. So we can go ahead and we can do a card preview if we want to and show different view options. But by default, our new preview is full screen, which kind of gives it a very clean look. So let's get some files in our vault. So how do we get files in our vault? It's very simple. All we do is get the files that we want, quick copy, and a quick paste. Okay. We can also do a drag and drop. It does the same thing. So right now the vault's going to read in our files. It's reading in the current metadata on our files as well, and it's going to add those files to our local vault. So the first thing that we have to do is check these in, and what checking in does, for those that aren't on a PDM system, is that it's going to create that initial version on our server. So this is where that eliminating risk that Eric was talking about really comes into play. You'll also notice that it's very good at referencing. It knows that this drawing references this assembly, which references these parts. Even for non-SolidWorks parts, it can see that this DWG has references. Right? So we'll go ahead and check that in. And now you can see I've got version 1, and everything is in a state. Okay, so this is our workflow in progress. So with PDM Pro, again, all of my CAD folders are work in progress, but I also have some folders that don't require sign-off. So PDFs get vaulted right away. Things like pictures get vaulted right away. Right. So the first big enhancement is, in PDM 2017, is to be able to overwrite your last version. So you can see over here we've got version numbers, right? And they can get quite large, right? Especially if you're checking in parts every day that you're making changes on. You can get 40, 50, 60, hundreds of versions parts. And sometimes you don't necessarily want to overwrite the last version because there hasn't actually been, or sorry, you don't want to create a new version because there haven't been any significant design changes. So with 2017, in fact, let's just open up our assembly here. We've got the option that we don't need to do that. And what we'll actually do is we're going to show you that in action. We'll show you how to set it up, and we'll show you how to use that as well. So in this case, let's open up this assembly. Obviously, I don't have it checked out, so it would open read-only only, because if I don't have anything checked out, I can't make any changes to it. So it asks me right away, do I want to check this out? Sure, and I can preview all of my parts here as well. So maybe this is the part that I want to make changes to, so I'll go ahead and check that out. And maybe I'll check out the drawing as well. So we'll go ahead and check those 3 parts out. And maybe this is the part that we're going to be making the changes to. Okay, so we'll go ahead and pop that open. And, you know, maybe we do a little bit of design work, and, you know, we kind of get here and we're okay with it. So maybe we want to save this, and we can go ahead and just get my control panel out of there. Let's just move this over here a little bit here. So we get an indicator saying that the part that we have is newer than the part that's in the vault. So we can go ahead and check this in. Okay. Now you can see I do have the overwrite latest version, but it's currently grayed out. Okay, so we're going to show you how to fix that. So for the first one, let's just say it's a round design that we're thinking about, and we go ahead and we check it in, but we keep it checked out because we still want to work with it. We're not quite sure if we're done with it yet. Okay, so now let's say we do a little bit more design work, and we end up with this design. And this is actually the one that we want to go with. We decided we don't want the whole design anymore. Well, we tried to check it in, but again, it was grayed out. So how do we fix that? Well, what we have to do is we have to set some permissions in our administration tool. So if we go into our PDM administration, right, in this case, I'll go into my vault. And again, it's all secure access, so I'll have to log in as the administrator. And there's a couple of enhancements in 2017 that we can utilize to get this job done fast. So in this particular case, we've got Scott E., who's our designer, and he's part of the designer group, but maybe I don't want to give everybody in that group access to be able to overwrite the last version. You know, maybe I only want a couple people to be able to do that. So what I might want to do is create another group for designers. So now what we can do is when we create a new group, we can call it what we want. Maybe we want to call it designer admins. We can copy from other groups permissions and members. So we can say from the designer group, oh, let's go from the designer group. We can say copy the permissions and copy the members. So this is hugely speeding up the creation of groups without having to go in and reset all of these options. So we can copy those group options. You can see now if I go into my group members, I've got all the members that were part of the designer group, and I can go through and I can say, okay, you know what, I'm biased. I like all my Scots to be admins, so maybe I don't want to make Eric or Alex a part of this, right? So I can now take away people from that group that I don't want. And if I go through things like permissions, right, I can go to my folder permissions and say, all right, now let's give these guys access to overwrite the latest versions during check-in, right? So I'm giving those 2 particular people access. Same thing in states. Maybe I want to use this through a workflow, right? Maybe I want to go to a design workflow, and during work in progress, I'll say you can't overwrite. But notice that all of these other checkboxes are already there because we copied all of those permissions from that design group. So that can save a ton of time without having to go through and set things like search cards and permissions and everything like that. So we've got that set up. All right. So now we can go ahead and close down our administration tool. And again, let's actually save real quick. And if we pop this back in and we go to check this in, you can see now, because I'm logged in as Scott E., I have option to overwrite this version. So all I have to do is check that. You'll notice that the new version is now 2 instead of 3. So I don't have to worry about that other version that I didn't want. I can just say, you know, overwrite old version. Right? So now I still have version 2. The nice thing is that if we navigate to the history on this file, so if we go to contains, and let's find the one that we were working on there. So if we, whoops, and check out the history, it's still logging in that we checked in with version overwrite. So even though we are overwriting a version, you might want to keep track of who's doing it and when it's being done. So you can still see that there was a version overwrite being tracked on that file and who did it, so that you, and when it happened, so that you can keep track of all the history on your part. Some new enhancements as well in when you're using copy and move tree. So maybe we want to do a right click and do a copy tree and copy this project somewhere else. Now if we select any options, things like including simulation results, naming drawings after models, that sort of thing, whatever we choose is now saved in memory. So when we go to do another copy tree, all of those settings are going to be saved. So we don't have to set those every time. So this is really good if you have a company standard for copying over projects to new folders. So another great enhancement in PDM 2017 as well is that now the service packs for clients and servers don't have to be the same. They have to be in the same major release. So in this case, you'd have to be in 2017 for both the client and the servers, but they can be on different service packs. So you don't have to upgrade them both at the same time. Maybe there's a reason to upgrade your client and not your server. Not a big deal with PDM 2017.
Yeah, I think a common way that this happens is for clients, if they do want to take advantage of new functionality, or maybe there's a bug fix on the server side, they don't need to do the rollout on all the users necessarily. They might want to, but sometimes there's fixes that you'd like to apply to the server, and you're not allowed, or it doesn't make sense to do it if you have to upgrade all the clients, right? So great that they allow that now.
No, absolutely. So again, some great enhancements on the management side of things for PDM, being able to control those or overwrite those versions. So that's a great way to keep the size of your vault down with iterations that you don't need, while still maintaining all of your versioning. And again, being able to keep those copy move presets is quite a nice feature when you're trying to maintain how you copy projects, as well as those service pack requirements. So moving on to the automation side of things and what's new in PDM 2017. So some great enhancements. You'll see from the graphic there that we do have Office to PDF, which is great. So there's kind of 4 main big ones in PDM 2017. So the first one is being able to utilize variables in exported project part names. So when we export out a part, we can put things like project names or descriptions. We have access to all of those variables to be able to get more customizability out of what we're going to export.
Yeah, another commonly requested one is exporting a drawing but saving it as the ERP part number as opposed to like a model number or something like that. So lots of good applications on the variable override. Sorry to interrupt there, Scott.
And hey, no problem. Chime in anytime you'd like. So just to kind of give you an example, so maybe we want to take this drawing here and we want to make this PDF. So what we can do, if we go into our administration tool, again, we can utilize that new variable capabilities. So if we jump into our task, in this case our PDF drawing task, we go over to our menu command. We can name it whatever we want if we want to rename it, but we can go to our conversion settings, and we can actually change what kind of file we want. And notice it says 3D PDF at the top there. So we can also do 3D PDFs now as well, which is great. So if you go to our output file details, this is where we can utilize those new variables. So you can see in this case we've got source folder path and file name. But we can also add to this. So maybe at the beginning of our file name we want to put in the project number. It's as easy as point and click. Now it's going to go project number, or should go anyways, project number dash source file name. So let's try this out. Let's go ahead and accept that. Let's right click on our drawing, and let's go to convert to PDF. So it's going to ask us how we want to put in some variables there. We can say OK. The task is going to run, and you can see it created our PDF with our project number at the front of it. So some very cool enhancements when it comes to customizability. Now we can also do this for workflow as well. We want to do this as part of a workflow. So here I'm in my workflow. I can go into my approved workflow, and I can add in this task. So maybe I want to say at this point execute a task, and maybe we want to say run this only for drawing files when they go through this workflow. Run the PDF drawing task that we just set up, and say save the drawing as PDF. So now we can have this automatically trigger when we submit this for approval. So let's go ahead and save this workflow. We'll exit out of here, and we'll run this through that workflow. So let's change the state, send for approval. So now we've sent it off to the manager for approval. We can say OK, and we can use our favorite searches, which is great. So we can have a favorite search, which is PDM Pro, and we can see everything that's awaiting approval. So in this case, today, let's filter it out. We can see there's the drawing that we want to use. We can preview it. Yep, looks good to me. And we can go ahead and approve it. And now when it goes through that workflow, we can put in a password for an extra layer of security. And there's our PDF creation. We can go ahead and hit OK. And close our search. And that will create a PDF for us. So a number of different ways that you can utilize those new variables. And along with those new variables as well, we can do things like DWGs and DXFs to PDF. Right? So it runs the same way as you saw with the drawings, except it utilizes the draft site API to take that DWG DXF file and create a PDF automatically through a task. And another big one is being able to do Office files to PDF. So let's actually go through that right now. Let's go through how to set that up. So first of all, in order to be able to utilize this, let's go into our administration tool. So let's go into where are you? Well, we can just pop in here. That's fine.
It was. I don't think you have access with your Scott login there, Scott.
Yeah, I don't. I think I locked my designer down. Well, you know, Scott E. He's a bit of a troublemaker. I don't like to give him all the access in the world. So we'll go ahead and log into our vault. So you'll notice if I go under tasks, I have a new task called Office to PDF. So this is new with the PDM 2017. And if you don't see this in your vault already when you upgrade your vault, you can always start a new vault, which I've done right here. As a test vault, we can go ahead and log into that one as well. And you can actually just drag and drop. So we could just say, take the Office to PDF, grab it, drag it, drop it into this vault, and then I'd have it in that vault. So that's a nice little tip. If it's not showing up after you've updated your vault, you could always just create a new vault using 2017 and drag that in there.
And to clarify, you would use the...
Sorry, what?
Yeah, to clarify, you would use the default vault configuration.
Yes,
that gives you the option to select those automations. There's check marks you'd select as you create it. So yeah, that's kind of the quickest way that I go get those brought up.
No, absolutely. So what we can do is let's actually jump into this task. So let's go ahead and jump into the Office to PDF task. Here we can see, again, we're using the new SOLIDWORKS PDF task add-in. And we can see, again, we can name our task. We can see the execution method. So this is important. You want to specify where this task is being run from. So in my case, because my server is on my local computer, this task is being executed on my computer, which is Javelin 197. You could also let your system decide, or you could prompt where you want this to run from, or again, you could just select wherever your PDM server is down here. But you definitely want to specify where this task is being run, whether it's server-side or local.
And to clarify, for smaller teams, you would typically do it just locally on the computer, and then as soon as the team is of a certain size where, like, okay, let's say it's worthwhile to have a server or a computer dedicated to it, then you would run it on a server or a specific client machine, and have all tasks, including the drawing PDF or Office PDF, done on that machine. Okay.
Absolutely. So with our output, again, this is where we specify where we want. So we could go ahead, we could use the variables here. In this case, I've got it set up to just automatically go to a PDF folder in my root file, my root vault. So we're going to go ahead and we'll leave that there, and then we just want to make sure that we set our permissions. So who's allowed to use this task? So in this case, my designers, and again, they actually were already allowed to, and because I copied those permissions, my designer admins were as well. So maybe I don't want my designers to be able to use this, right? So we can go ahead and set that. We can set OK, and now that's ready to go, right? So we set that task up. We can close this down, and you know what? Maybe we'll close down SOLIDWORKS as well, because we don't need it anymore. And maybe, let's go to our main tracker folder. And let's see, maybe we want to make this this Word document here. Maybe we have to send this out as a PDF. We want to quickly be able to turn this into a PDF. We can just right-click on it, go to our tasks. You can see we have convert from Office to PDF. So we'll go ahead and run that task. And what that's going to do is it's going to automatically run. It's going to create a PDF folder in our root directory if we don't have one. And inside of that PDF folder is where it's going to place, in this case, product initiation checklist as a PDF file. Okay. So if we go, let's see if we got it there. Oh, we got a couple in there already. And just let it refresh itself here.
Yeah, that's just running in the background there.
Yeah.
We do, so much like Scott showed earlier on the drawing task being run or triggered from a workflow, I would personally say that would be the most common way to do it. So as a document gets locked down or approved, that's when you would typically go and produce that the copy of it. And do you have the option, Scott, there that it's connected or linked to the document? Because that's a really nice feature as well. It's
absolutely. So you can see right from this PDF that it's telling you where it's referencing. So I can jump to any one of these documents at any time. So that's a really cool feature.
Yeah. So from our initial testing, it's it does exactly what it was set to do. It's easy to set up, and literally within 10 or 15 minutes, we had them working these new tasks without any issues.
No, absolutely. So again, you kind of saw it a little bit when we were utilizing the variables. We can now create a 3D PDF. So this is really to facilitate model-based definition, which is a great add-in for SOLIDWORKS for eliminating drawings, right? Having all of your product manufacturing information on your part itself. And further to that, we can now view 3D PDFs directly inside of PDM. So if I open up a 3D PDF, go to my preview window, right, we get the full 3D PDF. This is full Adobe Acrobat built in now, so we have access to all of those the native functions of Adobe Acrobat. So some very cool enhancements in the viewer as well.
And Scott, before you move on, or maybe you were going to show this later, but because we're using 2017 eDrawings, there's also a number of other file formats you can preview as well. Or is that later on?
No, yeah, absolutely. You know what? Let's talk about that right now. So Yeah, absolutely. So with the release of eDrawings 2017, we saw a ton of other CAD formats that we can view and open inside of eDrawings. And because PDM uses eDrawings as its viewer, we can now natively view other CAD system formats. For instance, we can see this is an inventor assembly, right? So we have full viewing inside of our viewer in PDM 2017. We can also do things like CATIA. This is a CATIA assembly. So huge amount of power there, and it's just great to be able to visualize those right away inside of PDM 2017. And to clarify, I mean that includes IGES, it includes STEP, Inventor, and CATIA. As well as STEP AP242, which has that PMI information like you saw with that 3D PDF. So some great powerful enhancements to eDrawings 2017 that have that are able to be utilized inside of PDM 2017 as well. So again, some great enhancements when it comes to automation, especially when it comes to creating PDFs for multiple file types. And the variable utilization is huge. Right? I mean, especially when it comes to things like filtering out your parts or being able to keep everything organized, you can add in those variables for quick use. And then just the last section that we're going to talk about is the collaboration side of PDM 2017. The first being our Web 2 portal. So let's actually jump in and let's take a look at what the Web 2 portal looks like. So it is an online version of our Vault. So we are just in a regular web browser. We can browse through folders, files, get previews, easily search for folders, and in PDM 2017, things like our Office documents, you can see everything's being shown with tabs. It's a lot cleaner of an interface. Even if we want to go to a Windows document, right? Everything displays very, very nicely. And again, it's all online, so it doesn't matter, what kind of computer you're on, as long as it has a web browser. We can preview all of our files in eDrawings very easily. And the great thing as well is that we have multiple interfaces. So you don't only have to be on a computer. It'll scale down for tablets. It'll scale down for phones so that you can do things like file approvals or evaluations on the go. You don't have to be in the office. And it's incredibly secure. So this is all done by the new WebGL viewer. So Web 2 was completely rewritten in WebGL. And in fact, it came out in 2016 SP4. So you already have access to it. And it's been greatly enhanced, including the ability to restrict downloads. So maybe you want to give a customer, early access to a project, or even a supplier access to your Vault. You can restrict what they can download to make your Vault as secure as possible. So it's a great enhancement on that Web 2, and it's very convenient, especially if you've got a lot, even sales guys out of the office can have access to your PDM. And then another big enhancement is database replication. So the archive server replication we've been able to do for a while. So let's go over how that works. So in a PDM system, we have a database, and the database controls things like logins, general browsing through your PDM system. And then we have an archive server. So the archive server is what controls all of our actual data. Okay? So for quite a while, we've been able to replicate our archive data. So this allows us to have multiple site locations, and it allows all of those locations to work off of the same Vault. So we're all working off the same file set. But for bigger companies that are multinational, that are in many different continents and countries, they've all had to go back to home base when it comes to things like logins, performing tasks, that sort of thing, anything to run server side, and it could take a little bit of time. So now with SolidWorks or PDM 2017, we can also replicate our databases. So what does this do for us? Well, it allows us to have databases closer to our other offices that may be around the world. So it's going to make it a lot faster for simple folder browsing. When we're using the contains and where used, general responsiveness, everything is going to be faster because we can connect quicker to these other databases. So it's a great new enhancement when it comes to replication, and it's going to greatly improve the user experience at those satellite offices or at those other offices that could be anywhere in the world. So some great new enhancements on the Collaborate side as well. Again, being able to access your content anywhere, to be able to work with anyone. I mean, even using that Web 2 viewer, you don't even have to be on a Windows-capable machine. Again, as long as you have an internet connection. You can run on a Macintosh. You can run on a handheld, an Android, whatever. And again, the database replication just to be able to work smoother and faster worldwide.
So just a reminder, if you haven't filled it out, there's the link for the survey that we've been doing this last month. So good prizes, Apple gift card, an NVIDIA Quadro M4000 graphics card, and a MakerBot Mini. So those will be drawn on November 10th. We do have the questions open. So if you do have any more questions, please type them in there. We hope that you'll still look and attend any other webinars that might be of interest to you. If you're an existing PDM client and you're looking for more capabilities beyond PDM, a good one to consider is the ARIS PLM webinar on October 27th. And there's also good webinars in the mix that are purely still SOLIDWORKS that we thought would be good training topics to dive deeper on. So November 1st, that large assembly, and November 10th, the 3D interconnect.
Oh.
And I still have another poll question, so I'm curious.
Oh, perfect.
Out of what you saw today, hopefully I got the big ones, but I'm curious, which ones do you see as your favorite in PDM 2017? If you can fill in your favorite, would be great. Oh, we have a clear winner there. CAD-related PDF publishing. Oh, we got some other stuff catching up.
Yeah, it seems to be evening out. I'm in the same boat. I love all the enhancements. So.
All right, so we'll close that up in a couple seconds here. So get your votes in. All right, we'll call it closed. I shall share that one out of curiosity, just so people can see. So we had some good spread over results, but 2/3 are still enjoying the CAD automation, which I'm not surprised by. Obviously that's what a lot of customers are looking to get out of PDM. All right, well that's I think that's all we had planned, right? Scott, is there anything else that you needed to cover?
No, that is everything. I don't know if there's any questions out there, but other than that, I think that's everything.
Perfect. So we'll stick around for a couple questions. If you don't stick around for questions, I want to thank you very much for attending today's session and for joining us on this year's 2017 rollout. And we look forward to following up with you and seeing where else we can help with your business. Okay, take care and have a great day.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.